and it is key for good financial management. I'm not talking about finance, but I'm talking about financial management. Because you make certain decisions in business based on the finances, which you're not an expert on, but the decisions are yours. Okay. So numbers are very important. So I would suggest that you write another letter to Maths and say that, my dear friend, even though we parted on less than cordial terms, I would now like to get to know you better and come to some sort of compromise in terms of understanding it, number one. Second part was to answer your question of whether you should quit. I think I gave you the answer to that in the poem I mentioned. You know, if you can force your heart and sinew to serve their turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will that says to them, hold on. Okay. That, I think, means that if it is worth fighting for, don't give up. Don't give up. Never quit. However hard, however difficult the road. Because I tell you, every road cannot be dead straight. There's always a corner. And when you turn that corner, you may suddenly find that it is beautifully paved and it's a smooth ride. If you've ever driven cross-country from one state to another state, you'll find this is very true as you pass toll highway after toll highway, or highway toll after highway toll. The roads change. So remember that if it depends entirely on you. Walking away from a bad situation is different to quitting. But don't quit, or rather, don't not quit just because you don't want to lose, sort of stature in the eyes of your peers.
So it's the moment when you wish to have an equilibrium in your own thoughts, in your own
coming to terms with what you want to do and what you do not want to do is different to quitting. That's not quitting. That is, it's a very healthy exercise for each one of us to do a balance sheet of ourselves, a profit and loss statement, debits, credits, or pluses, minuses, or to do even a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, etc., of ourselves periodically. Where am I strong? Where am I weak? Where do I feel that I have opportunity? What are the threats that are working against me? Maths being one of them. How do I convert a threat into an opportunity? How do I convert a threat to a strength? You have to ask yourself these questions. If you are completely convinced that it's a hopeless situation and it's a situation that you need to resolve, as they say in finance, it is better to cut your losses, even if it means financial loss, but cut your losses then, rather than go on and on and on and on, stagger on, and and sort of through the pain and difficulty. Follow what I mean? I don't know whether you've asked me a very, very, very good question and a very complex question, and a question that I think I cannot answer for you. You have to answer it for yourself. I can only give you certain factors. I can draw you certain analogies from my own experiences, but you have to come to terms with it yourself, and you have to decide. First of all, remember the 4 window panes. What it is, ask yourself, work backwards. What is it that you want to be when you want to grow up? The 4th pane. And then come back to what it is, how is it that you want people to see you? What is it that you want to be? Neha, what do you want to be?
As of now, what I have thought of my future, I want to be a speaker like you.
No, you don't want to be a speaker like me.
Empty
vessels make the most noise.
Before that, I wanted to be in politics.
No, I would not last a day in politics. I'd probably be assassinated because I have a terrible habit of speaking the truth, and I do not brook fools. So to be a politician is a different skill set. Okay, so if you want to be in politics, you don't necessarily have to be a good speaker, as we have discovered in our country. It helps if you're a good speaker, if you're a good orator, definitely, as we are also witnessing. But I don't know whether it signifies, not in the current climate. So being a good speaker is very easy. Practice in front of the mirror. Good speaker, trust me. There are a lot of other factors that come into play too. And I remember in the institute we had our director. He used to say that I did my operations research there, and he said that, you know, sciences are very good for the soul, very important, but there must also be a counterbalance, an art. You must take up classical dance, classical music, understand or appreciate it if you can't perform, but learn an instrument to balance. Because you can have a scientific brain, but you must balance it with humanities and with culture. And we are so rich and diverse in our culture over here, it's important to balance it too. And since then, I took it very, very seriously. I had a mentor who took me through Hindustani classical, and I also had another mentor who took me through Western classical. I love music, and I tried to balance myself out. But the point is that ultimately, what you become is what you will. So, if you want to be a politician, you want to be a good speaker, it's important to read well, to also experience the humanities well, and to be able to, then you can talk about almost any subject under the sun. But reading is very important, math is also important to some degree. Maybe not to the level where you take it as a subject, but if you are going to be a business leader, maths will play a very key role. So don't write another letter to maths.
Thank you, sir.
Right now.
Good
Everyone's
sir.
asking questions on the right hand side. What about the left hand side? This is yin and yang. This is imbalance. Yes, go ahead. What's your
Good
name?
afternoon, sir. Surendra this side.
Sorry?
So, Surendra.
Surendra.
Yeah.
Okay, Surendra.
So, my question is like, we have been several interviews, and wherever we are going to any of the organization, so ask about the from the organization person, because sometimes if you are going through the consultancy, you would be able to get it. But when you are going to the organization, how do you get it, and is it the feedback
From who? The interviewer?
or the organization?
Okay, another good question. Just to the level of questions that you're asking. Yes, why not? An interview is a two-way process. A colleague of mine whom I studied with in school, Rajat Gupta, you must have heard of him, right? Famous Rajat Gupta of McKinsey. He joined IIT together with another dear friend of mine, or a number of dear friends, by the way. When he went to Harvard and he was interviewed by McKinsey, they didn't think that he was the right kind of person that they wanted to hire, one of the partners. So he went back and told them, he said, look, I think you made a mistake. I think that I am absolutely tailor-made for your organization, and I should be interviewed again. So they flew in another partner from Chicago who interviewed him and said, yes, he is a good hire, and they hired him. Unfortunately, he's faced with all this difficulty, which I don't agree with. I think that it's all circumstantial. I know him very well. He's a man of very excellent character and moral fiber. None of what has happened is really, should be laid at his door, but that's besides the point. But if he can get McKinsey's to change their opinion and hire him, it's only because of the feedback. He asked for the feedback, or rather he gave them feedback. So, but you have to balance this out. If it's an organization, you have to ask yourself one thing: do I want this organization? If you want something so badly that you're hurting for it, it will happen. because your positive energy will channelize itself into such a manner that you will almost cause it to happen. So if this is an organization you want to work for, then you should not leave any stone unturned. And if they have refused you and sent you, then you should ask politely, may I please know where I failed you or where I did not meet your expectations? Because if nothing else, it is good for you to know for the future. But on the other hand, it might very well spin around like the principal who turned me down and the partner who turned Rajat down. It might work conversely in a very positive fashion. They might say, well, this guy really wants to know, and the kind of way he's asking and the kind of way he's portraying it is very positive. Let's take another look at him. Maybe someone has dropped out. Let's take that causes you, your paper or your application to bubble up. What is it that catches people's eyes when you're interviewing hundreds and hundreds of people? Something has to jump out and capture the eye. There has to be some attraction, right? Correct? I don't know whether I've answered your question, but...
Yes, you have.
Right.
But I have another question links to it. If a person whom you have not given the interview face to face, because that is what has happened to me. There's a guy who was from Chicago. He took a telephonic round, although I have cleared 3-4 rounds of an organization.
Are you interviewing with McKinsey?
No, I'm not for the McKinsey. It's for Aon Hewitt.
Yeah, okay.
So at that time, that guy took the interview. The scenario was something like if you have given a situation wherein the work has been given, but you are unable to perform that work within the time limit. So what action you should take? The kind of reasoning I have given, I have discussed with my seniors, with other people as well. They said this was right, but somehow I got to know that I have not cleared that interview. So how could we ask that particular feedback from the organization?
See, it's a prerogative of every organization to decide, though there have been cases in America where people have been sued by interviewers, by interviewees rather, that they were discriminated. See, discrimination laws in the US are very, very powerful. You can be discriminated for the color of your skin, you can be discriminated for ethnic or for race or for a speech or an impairment, physical impairment. So many factors can creep in. So people from the United States are normally very careful about the interviewing process, unlike here in our country. They tend to be very correct, but it is not, there is no right on your part to demand to know the reason for why they did not hire you. Maybe they didn't like your aftershave. You know, maybe the aftershave that you were using and you were interviewed with a lady was a favorite aftershave of the husband that she's just divorced because she couldn't stand the sight of him. So it is a trigger which triggered bad vibes. Who knows? Like I told you, figuring out your boss, managing your manager, find out when is the best time, morning, afternoon, what aftershave he likes or does not like is also one of them. Point is, it is very difficult to determine why a person fails at one particular interview for reasons that cannot be very, very specific, for unspecified reasons. Normally the hiring is done within the first, as I said, minute and a half, 2 minutes. Within 2 minutes you've decided whether you're hiring the person. Within 7 seconds you have an impression of the person. Okay? I'm sure we all have suffered, we all have the same sort of reaction to people. My first reaction when I saw all of you in this room was, my goodness, what a very disciplined lot of people. So silent, so quiet, there's no buzz. So very, very, very impressed. I don't know what your impression was, but that's besides the point. But point is, all of us get a first take. Similarly, remember the interview. If you want to talk about interviews, that's a different, you can apply many of the factors that I talked about just now. Apply also to the interview process. That is, be on time, dress appropriately, shave, most important. You haven't shaved today. And So therefore, those are important. You never know when a potential employer is watching you. You know?
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Welcome. Thank you.
So there's one last question from this one.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Ankush.
Sorry?
Sir, Ankush.
Ankush. Oh, very nice name.
Sir, as you said, never ask for money in the interview. In your discussion, you said never ask for money in the interview.
No, I said that after you have joined the organization, because you have set on a particular salary structure, don't ask for money. That's what I said.
Sir, but you know, sometimes...
No, I'm talking about my personal
Okay.
mantra. My personal go. I've never asked for money in any interview. I've never asked.
Sir, but sometimes interviewer put you in a situation that you have to say something. I mean,
Yeah.
how would you tackle the situation?
You be honest. Be honest, because most you'll find that as you go through from one interview to the next, from one job career to the next, your new potential hirer is going to ask you how much you're earning in your current job. Be honest. Do you know that 70% of job applications or job interviews, interviewees lie about their salary? 70%. So don't be in that 70%, because now people are beginning to realize that many of the attributes that are posted in their application are untrue. So they have organizations that do diligence and determine whether those facts are true, whether you actually were engaged and worked in that organization in that capacity, at that salary structure, and so on and so forth. And they catch you out in one lie, and the fine print in your employment application is that if any of these facts are found to be incorrect, you will be summarily terminated. So don't fall into that trap. Honesty is always the best policy. Always. Right? It's different if someone is trying to sport you, like happens, come and have a drink with me, have a drink, and then they say, why don't you come and work for me? So you can't afford me. Well, try me. What are you getting right now? Then you exaggerate. You can exaggerate in terms of the benefits that you get. He says, okay, I'll double your salary. What do you say when someone says, I'll double your salary? You take the job? I'd be very suspicious. I'd be very suspicious. Why would he want to double my salary? And remember one thing, the person who's hiring you has poached you from his competitor. He will never trust you, because you have betrayed somebody else's trust. Do you understand? So you must bear all these things in mind. Money is not everything in life. Money will come at its right time and place. And money is not really the end purpose of our existence in our life in this world. There are other factors. The joy of leadership, the joy of working, work ethic. Those are so many other factors that are a greater reward. Right now, you shouldn't worry about how much you're going to get paid at the entry level. Just that you enter in the right organization, doing the kind of job you asked, right? Doing the kind of job that you actually want to do, something that gives you joy. You will automatically rise up, bubble up, because there are so many people that want to be employed, but there are very few people that are employable, who bring the skills, the attributes, the wherewithal, the necessary or positive energy, to a job. Very, very difficult to find good people. Very, very difficult. And usually the success rate in interviewing for a specific job is something like less than 5%.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, right. Left side. This is very unbalanced. If this was the Titanic, this would have sunk by now. Okay. Somebody from this side? Last question from this side. Only from this side. Only because either they all went to sleep, okay, which is quite likely. Anybody? Nobody? Nobody. Really? Okay. All right, this side, last question. Last question. Yes. Yes, Rajnikant, you wanted a question. As long as it's not philosophical. Right.
So how to manage EQ? As you said, EQ is very important. Like we take a lot of load, we can't bounce back once rejection comes to us. But in that situation, what we should do?
How to handle EQ? Yoga?
We don't
Pranayam?
have time.
These all no, I'm not kidding. I mean, these are all factors. Balance in life. Remember one thing, that you have to balance your life. You have to work hard, you have to play hard. If you do not find alternative outlets and just concentrate on work, you'll burn yourself out very, very fast. It is also important to read. Read the good authors. Doesn't have to be philosophers. It is good also to have something that you believe in. A mentor can be somebody whom you believe in. A mentor is very important. A mentor is very key in keeping you grounded and enabling you to stay focused and to advise you. Very, very key. Very, very important. How do you acquire EQ? That's a very good question. Well, I can't give you any hard and fast rule. All I can say is that these are all the factors that, see, emotional quotient is something that is not something that you train for. It is something that you inculcate. And I think your environment is very important. If you have a good family and a happy family, then you're brought up with a good belief system. And if that belief system overflows into respecting other people and respecting their space, automatically you will have the right balance of emotion. Because emotional quotient is very key for good leadership. Good leadership and for being a good team player, it's very, very important. It's not just getting the job done, it's how you get the job done. Don't hurt anyone when you're getting the job done. And even if you are competing, which you will be competing in the workspace, don't make it such a, so competitive that you want to destroy the other person. Play fair. Straight bat. Okay? No flashy strokes. All right? I really don't have a adequate answer for you, only.
It was enough.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. I don't know. How come you put up with me for so long? Because I thought I would be here for just an hour or so, but it appears that you all have a lot of questions, so which I'm very happy to answer. And I thank you very much for being such a good audience, for being so participative, and for listening so patiently. All right, and I wish you all the very best.